Here's my first impressions of Tejo. I think he is one of the coolest agents they've ever designed. I really like his kit overall. I like his aesthetic. I like everything about him. He's really, really cool. So we'll talk about the first ability first, which is this drone. And this drone is invisible right now. And it just works the same way as like the Sky Dog or whatever, right? And the better part about this drone than like the Sky Dog or whatever is the payoff of this drone, which is this. So it's an AoE silence and also creates like a snapshot of the enemies, similar to like a Cypher ult, but in a radius instead, which is crazy to have on this drone because this drone seems immensely overloaded. But I will talk about that stuff soon. Next, we'll talk about the next ability, which is this ability here, which is the stun. And I do think this is definitely on the lower end of his power budget. This isn't really like a focus of his kit. You may have also just seen there as well that if I left click right next to this bot, this bot gets stunned really, really long compared to the other bots around him. There you go. You see how long that was. So there is like a fade radius to this. So you want to try and get them dead center, which is really, really important for this ability. It also has a bounce as well that you can bounce off walls, and it will, yeah, just work normally. It has one bounce with the right click. So there are, and also as well, something really important to mention with this is that the range is crazy. It goes forever. So you can definitely do cross map lineups with this, or like lineups that are like decently long range with this, to actually help teammates and that kind of stuff. So he is quite good in that sense. Could be really good in mainly defense, where you can throw anti-execution type stuns across the map, similar to like how you would see like Sova throwing darts across the map, right, for recons to help their teammates. Very similar vein with the cube, obviously to a lesser extent, or with the stun. Sorry. So the next thing is this guided missile system, which is his signature ability. It has a 45-second cooldown, and you can kind of put it anywhere you want. You have two as well. This is just one of them, and it's like a molly, so it's actually quite good to like control space. So there's two main applications for this that I would say exist, which is on the execute to push people out of positions, and also in the mid round to push people out of positions to then punish them for playing that position, right? So like for instance, like in mid on ascent, you can push people out of all the corners on mid or ascent, or like push people away from peeking you from market, that kind of stuff, right? So you can push people out and punish, and you push people out and take space. So I do think this character is really good for that type of stuff. The main thing that's concerning, and you can see as well, like it goes like round corners and gets to the destination you told it to get to. So the big problem with this though is the cooldown, and I think overall the character as like a basic kit before I go into the ultimate lacks a lot of utility overall. I know that sounds really weird because his abilities themselves are really, really strong individually, I think, aside from maybe the stun. The problem is like the quantity of the util is pretty low, so it means that he's quite backloaded, I think, overall as a character, where he's not really doing much towards like the mid round, like you might see like a Gecko do, which is Gecko's very, very, he has a lot that he can do over the course of a round, right? Because he can keep picking up his stuff. Tejo's like the complete opposite of that, where he only has one of two of his abilities, and then he has like his signature every 45 seconds, which is a long time, right? He has like basically two a round, which is pretty crazy, right? Compared to Gecko, who has abilities constantly. So as a result, this character, you have to be very thoughtful with how you use your util, and also you're going to have to like choose fairly thoughtfully if you want to have impact in the mid round, or if you want to have impact in like the post plant or the execute, right? So in the back part of the round, why I call him backloaded, because I do think he's better in the end parts of the round rather than in the mid round, even though he can play that. The most important thing with him being good in the mid round is that he needs to have another initiator to help him with the execute later. So for me, I think that he is quite a good agent if he can get to the part that he's good at, or if he has another initiator to help support him in the mid round so he doesn't have to use everything, or he has another initiator to help him execute at the end, like a breach or something. So I do think that overall, like, he is quite a good character, but I think that he might struggle. I think he's definitely going to be one of the characters that have a massive skill disparity in who's good at him, who's bad at him. I think as well. Never talk about the ult, and the ult I think is pretty decent overall. The one thing that I don't like about it, which I'll talk about in a second before we annihilate these bots, after we annihilate these bots, it does a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage. But the thing is with this is that it's actually outrunnable. You can outrun it, so you do have... Oh, sorry, that's my ability. You can actually outrun it. I've kind of done it badly here, but you can outrun it, right? Like, it's not even like a difficult play to run. You can see I'm basically running a tiny bit faster than it. And that might not be the best demonstration, but I will. So you have to place it well as the Tejo, right? You have to be able to place it in a position where they can't really run away from it, or they have to run into it, and that kind of stuff, right? Like, think about like time constraints in the round, like planting the bomb or defusing the bomb. That's when this ult is going to shine, right? Because then you can place that time constraint on them, and also you can even use the direction of the ult to push them into positions, right? Okay, so say if that gun over there is the bomb, right? As I'm playing in the post plant, right? If I want to do this, I can do it like towards myself, right? And what this will do is it will do a couple things. If they're standing on top of the bomb, they're going to have to run away from... They either have to run like to one of the edges close to them. So they'll run to... I can't really do it. Unfortunately, I can't really demonstrate this very well. But they're going to have to run to like one of these positions, right? Because if they run this way, they are going to be coming into me. And they might not want to do that. Sometimes they might want to, though. If they want to try and find the fight quickly. Say if they've got a lot of time to come and try and find the fight. Then you might want to do it the other way around. So you might want to do it this way, right? Because then it's firing it away from you. So then it's going to push them away from you. So they're going to waste more time if they have to come and root you out of your position. They're going to have to waste more time because they have to run away from your ult first. And then they can come and get you. You see what I mean? I'm not sure if I've explained the greatest. So hopefully I'll be explaining it better in guides overall in the future. Yeah, so I think those are like my first impressions of Tejo. I think that he is pretty good. The one thing is his quantity of util might be holding him back slightly, especially in the lower elos of play and like the less coordinated levels of play. But I think in the more coordinated levels of play, his lack of util might still be fine because you can still use his util in like the most important places. I also want to talk about the maps that he might be played on as well. So I think the main map that I think he might see play on is probably Fracture. Because I think that it favors his kit the way that he wants to. Like, he's very good at taking space. And I think on defense on Fracture, that's kind of what you do, right? You take a bit more space and then try and hold that space. And I think that he is pretty good at the taking the initial space part for defense. And on top of that as well, on attack, you are still executing sites. I think as well, Fracture's quite a weird map with like some weird turns to them and weird places you can kind of sit. And I think the missiles, especially, and the drone are really good at like getting people out of those weird corners or like little corners that exist. Like think about A Tower, right? Or B Tower. I haven't played Fracture in a while. B Tower, where it's like that. It's like you go into the steps and then there's like a corner and then there's like a rope, right? And that's quite a difficult place for like stuff like a Sova Dart to reveal or a Haunt to reveal, right? But it's fairly easy for his missiles to like take up one lane of that, or like his drone to detect all of it. So I really do like the prospect of him going on Fracture. Okay, so that's it for my first impressions on Tejo. I would love to know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, I would love some help on his name because I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. So if you guys can help me out, that'd be really nice. So yeah, thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next one.